Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us today on this webinar. We're going to be talking about Devo's multi-tenant capabilities for MSSPs. At the bottom of your screen, you'll see some icons to multiple engagement tools that you can use throughout the webinar, including a Q&A chat, and also a link to a PDF with some additional resources. All of the engagement tool windows are resizable and movable, so you can adjust them in a way that works best for you. You can expand your slide area or maximize it to full screen by clicking on the arrows in the top right corner. If you have any questions or technical issues during the webcast, you can submit them through the Q&A engagement tool, and our team will do our best to address them. Attendees will not be able to verbally ask questions or raise issues. You can also find answers to some common technical issues in the help tool at the bottom of your screen. If a fuller answer is needed or we run out of time at any point, we can follow up with you as we capture all the question data, including who's asking the question. This webinar is being recorded, and you will receive a follow-up email with the recording along with any additional materials. So with that, I will let the team get started.
Hello, everybody. My name is Ann Urza. I am the Senior Product Marketing Manager supporting the Devo platform. I'd like to welcome you all to today's seminar. First, before we get started, I'd just like to quickly review the agenda that we're going to cover today. To start, we're going to review why multi-tenancy is important for MSSPs. I'm sure that's a topic that's near and dear to your heart. And then we'll discuss how Devo has been working with MSSPs over the past year or two supporting multi-tenancy, and talk about how we've evolved from that prior implementation to how our new multi-tenancy solution is going to help you further, and the benefits of moving toward that solution. And then we'll have a quick demonstration that highlights some of these new features, such as like the self-service feature. And then finally, we'll cover a topic that is obviously of great importance to everybody in the room today, which is migrating from the interim solution that that Devo has been offering to our new multi-tenancy capability, which is available today. And then we'll wrap up the discussion with some questions and answers and any other topics you'd like to discuss. So the next slide, which I'll cover quickly, is, we all know multi-tenancy is important, right? Especially for MSSPs. And service providers, have to configure, secure, and manage multiple tenants, right? That's a big requirement for them because they have that need to have complete visibility into each tenant, and they need to be able to seamlessly access that data from any configuration. So an MSSP needs to have the ability to configure multi-tenancy to support their customers, whether they're managing multiple SOCs or supporting enterprises across various business units over different geographical units. And most importantly, the data that is managed must be segregated and secure within each tenant. So next, I'm going to hand the presentation over to Julio Vargas, who is our product manager for the Devo platform, and he'll talk about the technical details of the solution and how the solution addresses these issues. So Julio, I'll hand this over to you next.
Thank you, Anne. Hi, everyone. My name is Julio Vargas. I am product manager for the Devo core platform. And I am also responsible for supporting MSSPs, making sure that we have the best solutions for everything regarding MSSPs. So in this slide, I want to start by focusing on multi-tenancy, on Devo's multi-tenancy capabilities. So basically, the way of implementing a multi-tenant customer inside Devo is to create a multi-tenant inside Devo, multi-tenant structure. That is basically a group of tenants that are linked together and share a common name at the end. So you will probably notice that if you are already using Devo, your domain, that is the word that we use for equivalent to tenant, has an at inside the name, and it contains the name of your organization. So that's the way we handle multi-tenant customers inside Devo. So in this picture, you can see an example where there are 3 tenants, simple tenants, or in your case, they will be used for your managed customers. And then there is also a parent tenant that would be the equivalent to the MSSP tenant, okay? So Each tenant is completely independent from each other. And from the left to the right, we can see that, first of all, you can send data from your sources that is split per tenant. So in the ingestion mechanism, you will have to identify each source with the tenant that belongs to this source. So the data will be stored completely separated. Each tenant, as I said, is completely independent and contains their own set of users, roles, and other assets like alerts, active boards, application, etc. So the possibilities that you have are unlimited. Then for provisioning, we have at the moment an API that can be used to very quickly create new tenants inside your multi-tenant. So the time for onboarding new customer will be super fast. Each tenant can access, as I was saying, their own data only if you are a user of a regular tenant. But at the same time, if you are a user in the parent tenant, you will be able to access data from many different tenants, okay, according to the configuration that you have done for this parent tenant. And as I said, this feature allows to have an unlimited number of tenants inside a multi-tenant. Finally, it's important to mention also that data is never duplicated. So the data is only sent once and stored in the tenant that is the owner of the data. And the queries are always run once also. And if you are in the parent tenant, the only difference is that you will be able to access more data. So let's go to the next slide. When we started to onboard the first MSSPs back several years ago, one common request that we were receiving was what we were discussing of having a parent tenant that would be able to access data from all different domains inside a multi-tenant. So from that moment on, we have been working two separate streams of work. One for this interim solution that we put in place more quickly. So as a fast solution, we have implemented what we call the interim MSSP solution that is based in using my synthesis tables, and you may be familiar with those. And unfortunately has to be implemented manually for each customer. So it requires a lot of back and forth communication between Devo and MSSPs that want to onboard new sources and so on. So this has allowed us to receive a lot of feedback and has been instrumental for the new solution that we have put in place now and that we are going to present and that we have already available in production as part of the 7.15 release. So let's go see what's the key features of the new solution. So first of all, the key features of the new solution, the final solution that we have implemented for parent tenants or for data access across domains, is that it's simple. Okay, it's simple, it's seamless, and it's very easy to use, as opposed to the interim one where you have to deal with my synthesis table that were not like the ones that you can see in a regular Devo domain. So in this new solution, if you are in a parent domain or a root domain, your experience inside the platform will be the same as if you were in a regular tenant. Okay, so the only difference that you will see, you will notice when you go to data search, for example, you will see all tables contain now a new column called client that will identify the owner of each event, okay? But the rest will be exactly the same. Table names will stay the same, and all the powerful features available inside Devo web app and all the APIs will be automatically adapted to the parent tenant. So The second aspect I wanted to highlight here is that, as opposed to the previous solution, the interim solution has to be manually configured and manually supported by Devo. This is the installation for this new solution is plug and play. You just need to request the activation, and it takes a maximum of 1 business day for activation, and that's all. You can start working and create as many number of parent domains as you want. The third key feature is that there are self-service capabilities. So we'll see in a while during the demo, but you will have an UI where you could configure as many number of parent domains as you want, and use this UI to change it if you need so, or delete them. Then an important feature that an important characteristic that we have focused a lot is that we wanted this solution to be very flexible, so it can solve all possible needs that you may have. Okay, so it can adapt to the different types of MSSPs around there. And finally, the last key feature that we want to highlight is that global search in the interim solution was kind of cumbersome to use, but in this new solution, it is as easy as in a regular domain. So you just go to global search and type a keyword, and it simply work. Okay, it will search data across all data sources across all your domains. Okay, so this is super powerful feature, and we hope it will help in many use cases like threat hunting. So so I was saying that one of the key features that this new solution have is that it's very flexible, and here we will present now 4 different samples of organizations, okay, or MSSPs need to model their organization inside Devo. So we will present 4 different examples of an MSSP. So the first one being a simple global domain where that will be used by the SOC analyst inside the MSSP, and then one single tenant per managed customer, and that's all. You just need to create one domain per managed customer, and the global domain. Go to the UI, configure it, and you are ready to go. You don't need to use any naming schema in this sample. The second example is a bit more complex because you may need to onboard a large enterprise, and this large enterprise may want to split their data in different subsidiaries or business units. So in this case, you can model the organization with a naming schema where you identify first the subsidiary, then using underscores to split the domain name, identify the enterprise, and then the name of the MSSP. So as I said, this example can be a combination of the first one with large enterprises adapting to this need of splitting the data in different subsidiaries and business units, and other customers can be simple tenant customers. So that's example number 2, and we think these 2 examples may cover most of the use cases, but we still want to show you some other examples. So this one can be used in the case an MSSP has multiple SOCs that are located, for example, in different regions. So in the diagram that you see on the right, you see an example where there is a SOC in the United States that is servicing a customer from the United States, and another SOC that is in Europe and is managing all the customer from Europe. So you will create 2 intermediate parent domains that will be able to see data from customer from the US and customer from Europe. And optionally, you could also have a global domain that can have access to all the domains, whether they are in US or in Europe. And the way of implementing, again, would be using a naming schema and configuring in the UI the rules using with. So lastly, another sample that we prepare is for dealing with multiple levels of service providers. So in case you want to offer or sell services to other services provider, you can do it, and you can implement this in Devo using, again, a naming schema. So as you can see in the sample here, there are only two levels of MSSPs, and then the MSSPs in level 1 have their set of customers, and potentially you could also have customers that are hanging from the level 0 MSSP. Yeah, again, this supports an unlimited number of levels, and we have already some customers that are using this way of managing data structure inside Devo, and it's working really well. So that's all from my side. Now let's go to the demo. I'll hand over to Fernando now.
Hey, hi everyone. Yes, let's jump into the short demo about some of the features that Julio just mentioned. So let me share here my screen. So let me know if you can see my screen.
Yep.
Okay, good. So as previously mentioned by Julio, a multi-tenant admin can define set of rules that is going to allow specific domains to access data from other domains in the same multi-tenant plan. So let's take a look on how easy it is to set up this rule. So from the main menu, we go into the administration, we go into multi-tenancy, and here is where we're gonna see the rules that are already created. And from the add data access permission is where we start creating the new rules. So when we click it, the first option that we have is the root domain. So this is gonna be the domain that is going to manage all the other domains inside this rule. So we select one from the drop-down list. If you notice here, we have just two available, client 1 and client 2, with the domain backstage. The global backstage is not showing on that drop-down list because it's already in use by this previous rule. So when you create new rules, that root domain is gonna disappear from the list, the drop-down list of creating additional rules. The next step is going to be select the criteria for the domains that you are going to add under this root domain. You have 4 different options. It's either to add all the domains as the one that we have for the global backstage, to select domains that the left portion of it starts with a filter or any other criteria that we want to add. For example, US for USA, for United States, or EU for Europe, depending on the way that we have it set up. Also, domains that end with, and need to remember that this is going to only be part of the left side of the domain. And if you have more than one kind of domain, the other option is to choose specific domains. So here you're going to have a drop-down list of all the other domains that you have available. So if you have any other one that is not dissimilar, like backstage, you're going to see it here. Or also you can start typing and the search is going to fill up. You just select the particular domain that you want to add to this rule, and you save the changes. You will get a pop-up that the rule was created, and also from this same screen, you can verify which domains belong inside these other root domains. You have this small pop-up here. And if it's a long list, you can also start filtering just by typing. So this is how easy it is to create the new rules and new data access for it. If you want to delete, just go ahead and delete them. And to continue with the demo, as also mentioned by Julio, now in the global search, when you look to search for a particular keyword or something related, it's going to look for all that data inside all the tables and inside all the domains that you have access to. So let's do a search for my name. Let me just jump into this one. It's already there. So you're going to see here all the data that is coming from all the data on the keyword search by my name. And you're going to see here the list of clients. In this case, my name is only showing inside this domain. But here, if it was the case, you're going to see the list of all the other domains that you can start filtering by it. In addition to the data search, the global domains also apply, all these other domains, global domains and child domains also applies to the active board. So you can create active boards with all the domains or the different domains that you want to have into the range. And as you can see here, you can create different ones just as is any other active board that you can create inside the Devo platform. So that's it for me, and I'm gonna hand it now to Ruben to talk about the migration steps.
Okay. Well, hello everyone. This is Ruben from Partner Services, and I'm gonna show you and explain you the high level what is the next step regarding the migration from your current and interim MSSP model. As we can see here in the migration next steps, as a first approach and as a first stage, what we are about to do is analyze and classify each multi-tenants and their assets of each of the root domains with access to the tenant's data, which means that, as many of you know, each customer may have one or more multi-tenant organizations, and inside within these multi-tenant organizations might be one or more root domains which access to one or more source or child domains, right? Regarding this migration at the first level, what we will do is to count each of the assets that are in these domains so that we can assess the efforts needed to this migration from each of the partners and the people involved in this MSSP organization, so that we can propose the best solutions for each case, and also minimizing the impact on the users, because these are production environments and we want to impact on the daily usage of the platform. Regarding this migration, we will also want to mention that there will be a need to identify all the external services integrated with the Devo platform, so we can take them into account and also avoid impacting on them or affecting the behavior during the time that the migration is being carried out. After that, the partners together with us, but the partners at the end of the day will be the decision makers for this migration model, so that everyone can choose the best option for each of the cases and each of their customers, and and then we will start with the migration, taking into account all the things and the stuff that we have discussed during our conversations for planning this migration procedure. After the migration, of course, there will be some validations that will be needed for making sure that everything is in place, that the migration was successfully completed, and also that all the assets that used to be in the interim model are already included in the new model. If we go to the next slide, as you can see in the chart on the right side, there is a small summary of the migration procedure. As I was saying before, first of all, we will need to assess and evaluate all the tenants and assets that need to be migrated to the new model. Also, we will need to analyze and count all the external services that might be impacted or not with this migration. We will also propose you one or more different migration plans depending on your case. As you can see in the list and at the left side, there might be no migration. This does not mean that in case that one of your customers don't want to migrate right now because they are in a critical moment, or they are working in something very important for them and don't want to be impacted by any kind of decision or any kind of migration. Your customers might want not to move to the new model in the short term. We will also propose you to keep current root domains so that we can move and transform the current assets into the new model. And we are also assessing the chance and the possibility to move all the assets and services to a new or to new root domains created from scratch, depending on the migration plan that is selected. In each of the cases, the number of assets and the efforts may vary because it's not it's not the same to transform a few assets in the same or in the current model than moving each configuration to the new model. And finally, regarding this migration, I guess that most of you already know which assets might be impacted or involved in this MSSP model migration. You can see some of them, but especially alerts, active boards, dynamic lookups, flows, reinjections, aggregation, and other assets and functionalities that might be used in the interim model. And in case that we want to move to the new architecture, it will be assessed. Regarding the migration, that's all from my side. And then you can go to the next step. Can you hear me?
We hear you very far away. I guess you already.
Is there any question,
finished,
Anand?
right?
Is there any question?
Hello?
Okay, I think we're at the discussion point right now. I'm happy to step in and run the Q&A if anyone has any questions. I think we have a couple that have come in. So first one is, what are the implications if we don't, if a customer or an MSSP decides not to migrate right away?
Well, there is no problem. Well, yeah, go ahead, Ruben.
All right, Julio, you can start.
Sorry, Julio.
Yeah, no, I was going to say is that
well,
migrating is not mandatory.
Could you say that
exactly,
again?
this is what I was about to say. Migration is not something mandatory. In case that there are some partners or customers that feel comfortable with the current model, they can keep it. We don't want to impact customers by forcing them to move to a new model, but we just want them to know about the new capabilities of the platform, and in case that they feel that in future they want to move to the new architecture because they want to create and generate new use cases, they can contact us so that we can plan a migration in the long term. In case that they want to keep the current approach, it's okay for us as well.
Okay. Another question that just came in too said, will the migration process allow us to merge non-MSSP clients into an MSSP? Ruben, we keep losing you.
I was on mute. I'm not sure I got the question. Sorry, I can't see it in the.
Let me read it again. Will the migration process allow us to merge non-MSSP clients into an MSSP?
No. This MSSP model will let us move from the interim model to the new model, to the new architecture. And in case that there is any kind of request for moving or merging non-MSSP clients into MSSP, I think that we will need to discuss that specific case with the partner or the customer that is interested on this transformation or this migration, so that we can plan the next steps.
Okay. So
yeah, just to add up on that, it will depend mostly if the non-MSSP domains that want to be moved to an MSSP model are inside a multi-tenant or not in Devo. Because if they are single tenants, we differentiate single tenants where the name of the domain doesn't contain an at. If this is the case, we cannot move them to a multi-tenant. But if they are inside a multi-tenant already, there is a chance that we can convert them to MSSPs, to parents, let's say. Okay.
Okay.
But I guess we can take this one offline if somehow we can identify the person who asked.
Okay. Another question just came in. Does 7.15 expand the capabilities of alerts when in a multi-tenant?
Well, I would say that it allows you to create alerts in the parent tenant that can query data from all the different tenants inside the multi-tenant. So in a certain sense, it does. It expands the capabilities, but the type of alerts that you can generate are the same that you could generate before. We didn't change anything regarding new type of alerts, but it's true that you now can handle inside the parent, the tenants, an alert. You can have an alert, for example, looking for a signature in the parent that will identify this signature across any of the data in all the domains. Mm-hmm. And this is something that you couldn't do before.
Okay. And then another question that I've heard too from some of our customers is, how do we get started as far as figuring out, what we have, how soon can we get started on this whole migration? How long does it usually take to get it started? I think this is back to Ruben. I know you reviewed the steps.
Well, as soon as we get all the statistics from our partners, we are trying to assess all the efforts so that when we contact each of you, we can discuss with the real numbers and the real information about your cases and your MSSP cases, so that we can plan the efforts. first of all, we are in the analysis stage. And as soon as we get this completed, we will start contacting all our customers, all our partners in this case, so we can discuss with each of you the different approaches, and also, of course, hear from you your concerns, your doubts and questions.
Okay. Does anyone have any other questions? Okay, one other thing I'd just like to mention too, there are some resources available for people if they'd like to get further information on the website. There is a solution brief which explains this in a little more detail, so feel free to access that. I believe the links are in the I believe, Allie, I think they're in the chat here as well.
Yes, they're linked to in the engagement tools, but we will also be sending that in our follow-up email along with the recording.
Very good. Thank you.
I just saw one more question come through on a time frame for migrating, if they want to migrate. End of Q4 2023 Q1.
I think that's a question for you, Ruben.
Sorry,
He's on
yeah,
mute.
I was ready. the typical problem. Yes. As soon as we get the analysis, our tentatively it will be in this quarter. And as soon as we start discussions with the customers, we will start prioritizing each of them and assigning the migrations to our teams. As I was saying before, each case will be very different from each other in terms of the responsibility of the teams. There will be some partners that will delegate most of the task on the Devo partner services team. There will be, I'm pretty sure that there will be some partners that will be also interested in following up all the phases of the migration and the activities. So first of all, what we want is to get the numbers, and with the numbers we will start working with you. Once we have discussed with each of the partners, we will start planning the migrations depending on the efforts of each migration procedure. But hopefully we will start doing these migrations on this quarter.
Thank you. Okay, great. So now we're going to wrap this up. Thank you, everybody, for your time, and thank you to all of our presenters. This is super helpful. If you have any additional questions that come up, feel free to reach out to our team at any time. And like I said before, we'll be following up with a recording of this webcast that you can share with any of your colleagues or anybody who wasn't able to make it today. And we look forward to working with you on this. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.